This is the brand new Nexx X.Wed 3, which I've been testing for the last couple of months. It promises to be a big step up from the X.Wed 2, and hopefully it has resolved the issues that a lot of people had with its predecessor. In their marketing material, Nexx described this as the world's wildest adventure helmet. I'm not entirely sure what that means, so let's take a look at it, and I'll offer my opinion on this helmet, having ridden in it for over 1,000 miles now. Okay, so let's start with the construction of the helmet. Now, I was lucky enough to go out to visit the Nexx factory, which is about an hour south of Porto in Portugal. It became evident very quickly just how much work goes into Nexx helmets and what a lot of manual hands-on work is actually involved. We see a lot of information from companies like Arai about their pretty much hand-built helmet process. And to be fair, there's not much difference in the Nexx factory. I won't take you through the whole process in this video, but I was impressed at the level of skill and detail throughout the production, as well as the quality control measures at each individual step. There's also some pretty interesting environmentally led innovations too. For example, Nexx told us that they source all of the materials that goes into the construction of their helmets from within a range of 60 kilometers of their factory, and they're also always looking at ways to reduce waste. One such innovation is that they no longer glue all of the individual EPS liner parts together. They've been designed in a way so that is no longer required, and the impact of that is that the company have reduced their glue consumption from 10 tons a year to just 2 tons per year. Wow. This particular one that I've been wearing is the Keo design in fluoro and white, and this is one of the carbon fibre shells. There are also composite shells in the range, and I'll go through those when we look at the pricing and the colours towards the end of the video. All of the helmets, regardless of their construction, have 3 shell sizes which cover the entire size range. Fully kitted out with the peak and the visor and everything that you need to ride in, this helmet weighed in on my scales at 1,780 grams. The sticker on the back suggests 1,725. I guess we can allow a little bit in the accuracy of my kitchen scales, but it's not a particularly light helmet. Having said that, in use, I didn't really notice it. It never gave me any problems, so we'll touch on that more when we talk about the performance of the helmet. So now let's quickly tick off the features. It has a drop-down tinted visor with a nice action and excellent coverage, the visor itself being 18% larger than the X.Wed 2, and it drops down a little bit further too. But it is still taking me time to get used to where that lever is. I'm sure it will come, I'm just still feeling around a little bit when I go to operate it. The visor has a central tab, but there are also smaller tabs on either side, which is good to see. This particular helmet is fitted with the Pinlock 120 XLT, which is the same found in the new Arai Tour X5. It offers an excellent quality of vision as well as a very wide field of view. Ample ventilation is provided by one vent on the chin, a small switched vent on the forehead right above the opening, 2 eyebrow vents, a large central vent and 2 upper side vents. All of these are easy to operate, and they do flow a lot of air which exits from 4 ports under the rear spoiler. The inside of the chin bar also features a winter cover which can be removed for warm weather, allowing greater airflow from the chin vent. The helmet is also prepped for the Nexx XCOM3 communications unit, which is made by Senna, which we did get to test on a ride whilst at the factory. Even though the ones that we were using were pre-production versions, they work very well, even with more than 10 of us connected via mesh. If you want to use your own existing comms, then there is still room to mount it on the side, but to be fair, flat space is a little limited. The base of the helmet is also interesting, as it features foam bumpers on the side to help prevent collarbone impact injuries, and the same on the underside of the chin section to lessen sternum impact injuries. On the side you'll see these red tabs which operate the lining faster release system. Simply pull back the cover, release the red tab and the whole side interior comes away. At the back you'll find a handy goggle strap retainer, and the eye port is large enough to accommodate pretty much any pair of goggles. Now onto two of the biggest changes of this helmet from the previous model, that's the visor and the peak. One of my gripes about the X.Wed 2 was that the visor and peak were both held in by the same fixing screw. This made visor and peak changes awkward, and owners have reported issues with the bolts working loose and falling out. Things are very different with this helmet though. The peak and visor now have completely separate fixings, meaning you can change either without the need to remove both. The visor is now quick release, which is a massive improvement, and it's very easy to do. I like that the visor is sprung as well, so that when closing it there's a really good positive click shut. My only gripe about the visor is that it can be occasionally difficult to open. Sometimes that clip is stiff and it needs a little bit of force to unclip it. But that does seem to be improving the more the helmet is worn, and that could also just be a problem with my particular helmet. The peak still retains the 3-screw fixing, but the bolts have been improved. With the X.Wed 2 I always suffered a problem with the vibration of the peak resonating through the shell of the helmet and creating quite an annoying hum. The 3 has a reshaped peak, and obviously it's in a different position on the helmet, and there is an extension that can go on the front if you so wish. To be honest, I have never so far felt the need to add that extra extension. I think there's enough sunshade from that peak, it sticks out far enough for me in general use. But what has made a significant difference are these little orange rubber grommets where the peak fixes. These isolate any vibration in the peak from the shell. When I initially wore the helmet, I thought that just the change of the peak design was what had stopped that vibration. However, when looking at video footage, I can see that it still vibrates at high speed, but it's not transferring that into the shell. It's a system that works really well. It allows the peak to move and vibrate, which cuts down on buffeting and drag, but it keeps that flex isolated from the rider. But it's not only the grommets that help in here. The EPS lining also has a rubber trim that sits between the inner and outer EPS sections to stop the vibrations from air turbulence. The overall effect is a very stable and I would say quiet helmet. Now, noise is obviously dependent on a lot of factors. The key one of those factors is the fit. Nexx helmets have always fitted my intermediate oval head shape very well, and the X.Wed 3 is no exception. Because of the fit and the anti-vibration measures, I found this to be a quiet helmet and one I've been able to wear all day long in perfect comfort. If you want to run without the peak in street mode, there are slimline bolts in the accessory kit that comes with the helmet, and if you want to run in off-road mode with the peak but not the visor, there are side covers to keep any crud out of the hinge mechanism. As before, there are also action camera mounts, one for the top, one for the side, and one for the chin for good POV video. To access this chin mount, just pop off the cover at the bottom and then bolt the two pieces of the arm into place. It's easy and it works well, and you can switch from one to the other. Turning briefly now to the interior, and it is a plush place to spend some time. The soft satin finish material is very comfortable, wicks sweat away nicely, and is removable for washing. There's no cutout for glasses wearers, but as I don't wear them, it's hard to say if that would cause a problem or not. Finally, there's a good old dependable double D-ring chin strap with a very handy magnetic fixing for the loose end. It clicks into place easily, and I think it's a much better solution than a press stud. Okay, so those are the features and the tech behind the helmet. What's it actually like to ride in? Well, I have to say I've really enjoyed wearing this helmet. It fits me well, which is a good start, but it's also, I found one of those helmets that when I pull it on, I'm kind of comfortable straight away. There's a wide opening, so it slips on and off easily. There's plenty of room for my ears and a good amount of chin room too. As I already mentioned, I found it to be both stable and quiet even at high speeds, and it's both on naked bikes and bikes with screens, although obviously this will vary on the bike that you're riding and of course the way the helmet fits you. It's well balanced, so despite it not being a super light helmet, I found it very comfortable. It's not giving me any hot spots or neck ache even after a full day of riding. Ventilation and vision are very good, and the drop down visor offers excellent coverage. Overall, I think Nexx have done a really good job with the X.Wed 3. I think they've dealt with the gripes and the issues that I and a lot of other owners had with the X.Wed 2, but they've also added some really nice innovation and design touches. I think this puts this particular helmet definitely in the premium category for adventure helmets, and I think it's a really nice looking helmet too. Any negatives or niggles? Well, I've already mentioned that the visor can be a bit stiff on the initial release. Also, the supplied chin sock that comes in the box is a little bit tricky to fit. That's not particularly well done. And I found that if you don't quite get that snapped in properly, it's very easy to pull it out when you remove the helmet. That's a minor gripe. If you're using the chin sock a lot, then I suppose that's, that could be a problem for you. I don't use it very often. I have my own chin sock, which is handy, but yeah, that is still a little bit clunky, that part. But outside of those minor gripes, it's been very difficult to fault this helmet so far. I've ridden in warm, rainy and cold conditions, and it's coped with them really well. The pin lock has worked perfectly. I have had on a couple of cold and damp rides condensation building up on the inside of the lower section of the visor, and that's quite often generally when I've had a camera mounted which is blocking the wind flow, and also I'm talking, but that condensation never breached the seal of the pin lock, so I didn't actually get any fogging in the visor. That's all worked really well. So what about prices? There are 3 carbon fibre versions. The Zero Pro, which comes in this plain carbon, priced at $509.99. The Keo, which is the helmet I've been wearing, that's available in numerous colour schemes at $509.99. Then you have the Wild Pro, which is the only gloss finish carbon helmet, and that comes in just one colour here at $469.99. Then there are 2 composite versions, the Trail Mania at $399.99 in various colourways, and the plain composite helmets come in at $329.99. It is worth noting that all of the carbon fibre models come with an additional shield, so it will be fitted with a clear one, but then there is an 80% smoke visor in the box as well, and all of the carbon fibre ones are fitted with the 120 XLT pin lock. The composite helmets come with just a clear visor, and those are fitted with a pin lock 70. After wearing this helmet for over 1,000 miles in as many different conditions as I could, I think it is an excellent adventure helmet, and Nexx have done a really good job. So if you are in the market for this style of helmet, I would say this is definitely one to put on your list to check out. Now obviously I had early access to this helmet to be able to bring you a review soon after the launch, so thank you to Nexx for allowing me to do that, but also thank you to Nexx because they've given me a discount code. So if you are interested in this helmet and you want to buy it, there's a link in the description to the Nexx Helmets UK website, and if you use the code ManCaveMoto, you will save 10% off of your purchase. If you've got any questions, then let me know in the comment section down below. This is just the first look. Obviously, as I tend to do with a lot of my helmets, I will come back and look at this at a later stage once I've got even more time in it. But so far, I've been really impressed, and I've got really no problems other than those little niggles. So let me know in the comment section if you need to know anything else. And all that leaves me to say is until next time, thanks for watching, take care, ride safe, and I'll see you soon. Bye.